Hi, thanks for joining me. So we have the unemployment numbers for Canada, which were released on Friday, May 10th. And I'm just going to scroll down to the numbers and we can look at them. And these are the labor numbers. And quite frankly, they're actually amazingly good. I'm actually incredibly surprised at these numbers. Let's just go down the list here. We've got the average hourly wage increase for the year is 2.6%. That is a big jump. And that is a big jump for the whole year. That is quite amazing. I'm quite impressed by those numbers, actually. And kudos when kudos is due. These numbers are fantastic. Employment change overall is a gain of 106,000, over 106,000. Full-time employment change went up 73,000. And that's with a forecast of losing 13,000. And part-time gained another 33.6 thousand. The unemployment rate dropped another percentage point to 5.7, and the participation rate for April increased to 65.9. These are really good, but also very stunning numbers. I'm actually, like I said, I'm actually totally surprised at these numbers as they come out. So I'm just going to look into things a little more. We're just looking at the unemployment rate. So far, for the year, the unemployment rate has dropped. And for the year, they say they added 248,000 full-time jobs. That is quite an improvement. Now, let's look at where these jobs came from. First off, it seemed to be driven by increases in Quebec and Alberta. And that is 32,000 jobs between those two provinces. And the other area, well, the other provinces that seem to contribute are Ontario and BC. That's right here. And they've added, between them, 32,000 jobs. Here's where it starts to get really interesting. This is in the wholesale retail trade industry, which comes under the service industry. And I'll get to that in a minute. We're going to finish these numbers first, and then we'll move on and see what the heck is going on. Because these numbers are absolutely startling. I just don't see how it could have been, but apparently it has. So between Ontario, BC, Quebec, and Alberta, there's been huge increase in retail and wholesale. And to further this, the youth, ages 15 to 24, the employment rose by 47,000 in April. Okay, employment for women increased by 24,000 in April. For men, it seems to have been little change. And the other category, 55 and over, 34,000 new jobs have been increased in April. That is quite something. But here's where I'm starting to have some problems here. I've been concentrating a lot on April because April 1st was when the carbon tax hit a lot of provinces. some provinces already had it, and some provinces it was new to them, and that's Ontario and Manitoba and I think Saskatchewan and so on. You know who you are. But I am completely surprised that after you increase taxes, which means, quite frankly, we have less money to spend. And that's what happens when you increase taxes. And when you decrease taxes, people have more money to spend. So, I mean, it's an old formula. You increase taxes, people spend less, and the economy shrinks that way. But somehow, after April, even with the carbon tax put on, we actually found more money to spend. And I'm having a little bit of a hard time swallowing that, especially when you look at GDP from services, what retail falls under. Okay, now let's see if I can get the top of that. Okay, so retail GDP from services, and that's what retail, it's a service. It's a service industry, like restaurant and all this other stuff. It's a service industry. So it's actually dropping. Yes, you had a big increase in January, but one other thing that you got to take into account is that it's a dollar value. And if you look, and I'm going to flash to the dollar, since Justin Trudeau, this is when Justin Trudeau came into power, and it really increased a lot here. But, I mean, in the 5 years, or less than 5 years that Justin Trudeau has been in power, our dollar value compared to the United States, it cost us a lot more to buy an American dollar. In actual fact, if you look down here, it is about $1.05, and if you look over here, it's $1.34, $1.35, depending on where exactly. So that dollar value does affect these numbers here. It's not more goods are coming across, right? It means that we're paying more for goods. So this just does not compute in a reasonable fashion that we have a drop in GDP, right, led by services, but then a huge increase. And let's face it, let's get to these unemployment numbers. These are record numbers, by the way. Let me see if I can find the employment. These are record gains, by the way. Full-time employment. These are some of the highest ever recorded. All right, let's go back and I'll find you employment changes. They record this. So here it is. So this is the highest on record. And you're going to get that down here in both employed people, which is the highest it's ever been, and employment change. And that 106,000 is the highest it's ever been on record. And you're telling me we're in a great economy? With a trade deficit, and really, I mean, if anything, we're just stagnant right now. So I find it truly hard to believe that these numbers can be so good. Could it be that, they're trying to whitewash the information because of an upcoming election? It sort of seems that way. I'm not saying, let's hope these numbers, let's hope I'm wrong. Because, if Canada's moving forward, great. I just find it really hard to figure out why Canada would be moving forward in this. Anyway, I'm going to have to look into individual provinces. Remember, it's BC, Quebec, Ontario, and Alberta that have led the charge in this big spurt of employment in the retail sector. And so you're going to have to go into those individual provinces and look and see what they have posted, and to see if they match up with what the federal government is talking about. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.